So you've just finished Boys of Tommen and now you're like, what do I read next? Like how am I ever gonna find something that makes me feel so many emotions? Like, well, you're lucky. You guys are very lucky because I spent a good old time researching and reading and seeing other people's thoughts and opinions on books similar to Boys of Tommen. So I've created a little list. I think there's 16 books on it. These are the books that I found that have similar themes to Boys of Tommen. Now, these books aren't like Boys of Tommen. They're all different. They all have their different stories and plots and stuff like that. But you can see there's similar themes. Okay? No book is ever gonna be like the Boys of Tommen series. It's just not gonna happen because this series is elite and I don't think anything is ever gonna top it. So let's get into it. So book 1, we have Unsteady by Peyton, Corinne. We have, it's a sports romance, it's a hockey romance, it's a mental health rep, it's golden retriever, black cat, energy, it's emotional, it's a good time. So with Unsteady, we have 2 emotional characters. They're both going through their own stuff. We see the MMC, he struggles a lot with mental health. The FMC sees him at one point in a very vulnerable state and things grow from there. I don't want to say too much, I'm not going to spoil it, but if you're looking for that sportsy aspect of it, this is a good one. Book number 2, we have Heartache and Hope by McLean. It's a sports romance meets emotional trauma. These two meet on the first day of high school, I can't remember, was it senior year or something like that, and a lot happens, a lot of emotional trauma. So next we have book 2 from this series, which is First and Forever by McLean. Again, sports romance, high school setting, miscommunication. We have the 2 main characters, Connor and Ava, who are there trying to support each other through a lot of mental health situation, a lot of trauma and mental health situations. Next we have Please Don't Go by Salvador. This one is also a sports romance. It's golden retriever, black cat energy, mental health rep, found family, all the good tropes. So this book does center around grief and healing. So the FMC, Josephine, she's dealing with grief because of the death of someone in their family, and so is the MMC. So they're both struggling with the same sort of traumas at the same time. So it's quite a sweet book in a way because they throughout the book, they both sort of like have each other, and they both sort of work on navigating their trauma and their emotions together. This one is quite emotional. I feel like I definitely, if you want to cry, I think this is quite a gut-wrenching, heartbreaking story. Next, we're going away from sports romance and we're gonna dive a bit more into the high school setting books. So we'll start with Collided. So it's YA, it's bad boy, good girl, high school setting. So in this book, we have the FMC who like Shannon and Boys of Tommen. This FMC is abused by her father, and obviously, she goes around concealing her bruises and all her trauma. And then she meets the MMC and he is struggling with grief. So it's both characters sort of navigating their traumas together. So the next book is Reason to Breathe by Rebecca Donovan. Now this one has domestic violence themes. I think that's one of the main themes in the book. So it's quite heavy. It's YA, it's a high school setting. It sort of follows the theme, with Shannon and her domestic abuse that she endures, obviously, in the books. So similar themes there. Next book is Normal. It's Normal by Danielle Pearl. Now, I read this book a few months ago, you guys, and it freaking shattered me, okay? I didn't see the ending, guys. I genuinely was traumatized because I read it at night, I finished it, and I was just crying my eyes out because I was like, what the heck? Part of me low-key saw the ending coming kind of a little bit, but I was like, yeah, they're not gonna do that. That's not gonna happen. No way. And it happened. it was really heartbreaking. I haven't even read the second book yet because I'm so distraught from what happened in book 1. I don't know if I can do book 2 because it freaking shattered me. And when I started reading it, I definitely could feel, it's not like Boys of Tommen, but it's a similar vibe. There's obviously, there's similar themes. The FMC reminded me of Shannon in a way, like very kept to herself, reserved, very like, you know, and then we have a very sweet MMC. There are mentions of SA, so do like check the trigger warnings of it for all these books. Please check the trigger warnings before you read them. But this one is very heartbreaking, so go into it knowing it's gonna shatter you. Next we have Close to You by Nissa Renzo. This is YA. We have a shy FMC, golden retriever MMC, emotional disability rep as well. So with this book we have the FMC who's mute, and because of something that happened to her in her childhood, and she's in foster care, and she meets the MMC in foster care. I think he's like her foster brother or sibling or something, and that's all I'm gonna tell you, but very gut-wrenching, very heartbreaking. Next book is Addicted to You by Krista Ritchie. Now this one I also read quite recently. We have a lot, we sort of like, what's his name? Joey and Aoife. We have addiction problems, like Joey's addiction problems. And so that's the MMC. The MMC struggles with addiction. And the FM, well, they both actually struggle with addiction, but the MMC struggles with drinking problems and the FMC struggles with, can I say that word? I'll write it down, addiction. I'll put it here. And it's very emotional. It's them throughout, because I've only read the first book, but I know in the first book they both help each other sort of conceal their problems from their families, and then obviously it just gets to a point where they sort of realize, or one of them realizes, like, you know, we can't keep carrying on like this. Like, it's very tough, and you can feel like what they're going through. Like, I felt quite emotional reading it. Definitely has similar vibes to Boys of Tommen, but it reminded me more of Aoife and Joey sort of situation. So the last book I'm going to mention is Before We Were by Monique Medved. So this book, it's sorted, you know what, it's kind of like a mix of Every Summer After and Boys of Tommen. So we have this couple, the FMC and the MMC, they've known each other for years, so it's a childhood friends to lovers trope. They've spent many summers together. For a few summers they dated, something happened, they break apart, don't see each other for a while, see each other again, and they're both not the same person. Like, they've both changed a lot, and it's quite a slow burn. It's very emotional. This one is it's a second chance childhood friends to lovers romance. It's not like as hardcore as some of the other books, but I've seen people do mention it as like, oh, this kind of reminded me a bit of some like the Boys of Tommen series and stuff, and I've done some research and I've had a look, and it's a good one to throw in because this book is a childhood friends to lovers. It's a little bit more similar to Gypsy and Claire's story. Remember, none of these books are meant to be identical to Boys of Tommen. They just have similar themes, you know, the trauma, domestic abuse, SA, very heavy themes. So most of these books have something similar to like if you want something, if you're looking for a book that will bring out similar emotions to the ones you read, to the ones you felt reading Boys of Tommen, then these are some good options for you to read. So I hope you found this video helpful. I do have a Boys of Tommen quiz on my site. I'll link that below. I only mentioned a few of the books in this video, but the full list is on a blog post on my site, which I will also link below. So thank you for watching, and if you liked this sort of content, please like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more. Bye, darlings.